Hi Room 10, I'm just pumping out a quick YouTube video this week to start our maths off, just to sort of overview the things we're going to look at maths this week, so that I'll teach this in class during the week, but anytime that you might need to review this or come back and see what's going on, you can come back to this YouTube video. We'll look at doing these things Thursday, Friday every week. I'm going to start to get you guys to do it, which is going to be a lot of fun. Do these things sort of Thursday, Friday, so when you come in on Monday, you've got an idea what we're talking about, and then if you need to revisit it because you didn't quite get it, then you can just go to the YouTube channel or the link through Schoology to review what we've done. So for this first week, which is actually week 2, we're looking at a couple of things. We'll be looking at exponents, and I want to make sure that we're really familiar with the language, so that when we go to high school next year, no matter how they put it to us, we know what they're talking about. We're also going to focus really closely, excuse my handwriting in a rush, on prime numbers. We're going to look at factors, and the reason why we've got a whole bunch of things here is because they're all kind of interrelated, and we're also going to look at multiples. So, P-L-E-S, Mr. Probert. So they're the 4 things we'll focus on this week in maths. We're going to do a bunch of tasks around it, and then come Thursday, I'm going to plan next week's activities with a group, and they'll probably make the YouTube video. So perhaps if I could get rid of that, maybe start a new one. Let's focus on one thing at a time. First of all, let's look at exponents. Now, you might have heard of exponents before, called power, the power of something. You might have heard it before as an indice. You might have heard it before as index notation. Lots of different, we'll take a little shortcut there, lots of different ways or different names that this has been called. So basically an exponent is a number that says how many times a number should be multiplied by itself. So for example, if I had 4 to the power of 2, it's basically telling me that we want to use 4 twice in a multiplication, 4 times 4. Of course, if I had 4 to the power of 3, we would be 4 times 4 times 4. It's simple as that. I guess the really important thing here, and we'll learn a little bit more about this in associative, commutative, and distributive law, it can't just be 4 times 3, it has to actually be 4 times 4 times 4, which makes it a much larger number. Let's try one out. Let's try this 4 to the power of 3. So of course, 4 to the power of 3, first of all we have 4 times 4, which hopefully we know is 16, and then we have 16 times 4. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my brain works a little slow with numbers on the weekend. 6 times 4. 6, 12, that must be about 24. Let's put down 4, carry the 2, 1 times 4 is 4, 5, 6. So 4 cubed, or 4 to the power of 3, is equal to 64. Nice one. We're going to have a play around with those during the week. Another thing that we're going to look at, hopefully I'm not going too fast for you. I guess the beautiful thing about YouTube videos is you can go back as many times as you like. Something else we're going to look at is, and I'm going to put these two together, factors and multiples. Now, when we're talking about factors and multiples, the numbers are all related. So if I give you a little multiplication here, is probably the best way to describe it. These two numbers here are the factors. They are the numbers that we can multiply to make the number 6. So the factors of 6, excuse me in my cough, not the only factors mind you, but 2 of the factors of 6 are 2 and 3. When we are looking at multiples, well, the multiples would be all the numbers that we could use that factor could make. So look, I guess if I gave you a little demonstration, let's use the number 28. I want to use a bigger number. So that we've got a little bit of room to move here. Now I'm thinking firstly about what all the factors of 28 are. Now remember, factors are the numbers I could multiply to make 28. I know I could multiply 1 times 28 to make 28. So both 28 and 1 are factors. I could do 2 times 14, that would give me 28. So 2 and 14 are both factors of 28. I could do, what about if I had 4 times 7? 4 times 7, or 2 times 7, 14, yeah, 28, perfect. So both 4 and 7 are factors of 28. So I think that's nearly about all. The factors of 28 are 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, and of course 28 itself is a factor. Now if I was talking the multiples, this one might do your head in a little bit. Multiples are all of the numbers, if I'm using 28 again, the multiples of 28 are the numbers that you would get if you multiplied 28. So the multiples of 28 would be firstly 28. Now if I had 28 times 2, well that would give me 56, that's a multiple of 28. If I had 28 times 3, let me think about this, 20, 40, 60, 16, that must be 84. That's a multiple of 28. I'm doing this multiplication quick in my head. I hope it's not far off. Now let's think about 28 times 4. Well, I know if 28 times 2 is 56, then 28 times 4 must be double 56, which would be 112. That's a multiple of 28. What about 28 times 5? Well, if I know that 28 times 4 is 112, and then just 28 more, that would make 140 a multiple of 28. So I know that's kind of quick, and hopefully that might have helped you in thinking around factors and multiples. Remember, the factors are the numbers we could multiply to make a number. The multiples are the number you would get. So the last thing that we need to think about is prime numbers. Prime numbers are numbers that can be divided by themselves and 1. So think about the number 6. Now I know the really important thing here that I've neglected to mention is it must be able to be divided evenly. That's the key thing. Think about the number 6. I can divide 6 by the number 1 evenly. 6 divided by 1 is 6. I can divide 6 by the number 2. 6 divided by 2 would be 3. I could divide 6 by the number 6. 6 divided by 6 would be 1. So because there are more, than 1 and 6, then that makes 6, unfortunately 6, you're not a prime number. Think about the number 5 though. Now I can divide 5 by 1. 5 divided by 1 is 5. I can divide 5 by 5, that's 1. I cannot divide 5 evenly by 2, that'd be 2.5. I can't divide it evenly by 3 or 4, so therefore the number 5 is a prime number. Now, talking about prime numbers, because they're a little bit tricky and they really do link to factors and multiples, they all link together, that's why we're studying them together. I've got a prime number chart on the wall in the classroom for you to look at. It's over on the side behind the trolleys where the pencils and texters and stuff are. You'll see there's a number chart up to 100, and all the red numbers are the prime numbers. So I hope that helps you out a little bit in your thinking, or at least those examples start you thinking the right kind of way. We're going to practice all of that this week, and hopefully by the end of the week when we assess it, you will know all about factors, multiples, prime numbers and exponents. Look forward to seeing you on Monday.